Hi guys. Of course, the second I decided to hit go live, my computer messed up. So I am a little late. I'm sorry about that. Hi Charlotte. Welcome. DJ. Hi. As you could see in today's topic, I want to talk about security and privacy online in general, but specifically what you can do in Instagram to make it as secure as possible. Thank you. Thank you. It was nice having a vacation, but I still feel a little out of touch with what I'm doing. I had a live stream yesterday. I think you didn't get a notification because it was on my channel that I have revamped and restarted. So Pixelpia YouTube for beginners is no more. Okay. You were about to message me? You wonder what happened? Well, it was just... Let's turn down the music. It was just a mess here, and I had to reboot everything a couple of times to get it to work. But now it should work. And remember last night we talked about me not having the Twilby voice anymore. I made a new one and made it work here. So let's see if this is an okay Twilby voice. Let's do a little test. Now I should sound like Twilby. What do you think? Is that an acceptable Twilby voice or not? But back to the regular voice now. Thank you. That I felt that people had missed me, and that felt really good. But it was... Hi Gina Bina. So you think that was an okay Twilby voice? I'm not going to use it all the time, but I have it on a fast button here so I can quickly become Twilby. Really, really nice. Thank you. Well, my Twilby voice doesn't really fit without the outfit. But now I know I have it again. I couldn't make it work. Very good. I didn't remember exactly how I had set up that voice the last time, but now I know. Okay, guys, as I said, I want to talk about security and privacy on internet in general, but also specifically what you can do in Instagram. And today I had some extra time. So instead of me doing the tutorial here and ignoring you in chat, I have prepared a video that we are going to watch together. And while that is running, I am going to be part of the chat with you. So this is filmed earlier today, so I don't have my fancy light on. But here we go, guys. And I hope the audio works. tend to use social media for privacy and security reasons. I hope today's video will help you feel a little bit more secure. Hi, I am Pixelpia. Today I am going to talk about security and privacy on the internet in general, and specifically on your security settings that I think it's important to change on Instagram. I'm going to use Instagram's website to show you today, but all these settings and some more can be found even if you're using the app on your phone or your tablet. So let's take a look at my Instagram account. So here we are at my profile page for Pixelpia Live. And to get to the settings we need to change, you just I think I need to get this to catch up first. Got some lagging. Yeah, I saw that. So let's see if I can. Let's give it a try again and see if it works. Just click on your little avatar up to the right here and shows settings. The very first thing I want to show you is under privacy and settings, and that is at the top here, private account. If you want your account to be private, you just click up there, and as you could see, no you couldn't because it's hidden behind me down in the corner here, it said settings saved, and to unclick that it asked me if I wanted to, and this black bar that popped up at the bottom told me that setting was saved. To set your account as private means that you have to approve everyone that you will want to have access to see your photos and your videos. If you use your account just to keep in touch with family and friends, this could be a good alternative. We are now moving back to Edit Profile. The reason I wanted to show you about private account first is that one thing is very important. Even if you have a private account, your public profile is just that. It's public. Even though it doesn't show, let me take you to my profile here. If it's a private account, none of these would be seen by people when they came to my account. The only thing they would see is this top part, my avatar and my bio. So let's go back into setting and edit profile. Here you find your bio in the center here. If you have your account set to private, it is really important that you think about what information you put in your bio, if any. Because even for private accounts, that is public. Next, let's talk about this part, changing password. First of all, it's important how you create your password. I suggest you use at least 20 characters and a mix of upper and lowercase letters. Include some numbers and some specialty signs. Mix them up. Don't use any regular, normal, everyday words or pet names or anything like that. Make it as hard as possible for eventual hackers. I also suggest that you regularly change your password, maybe every 2 or 3 months, and that you use different passwords for each social media account, for each platform. Don't use the same password for all your social media, because if you have the bad luck to get hacked on one account and you use the same password everywhere, you have opened the door for that hacker to get into all of your accounts. If you have a hard time remember your passwords, I suggest that you look into a password manager. There are many different kinds that you can download, and I will do a separate episode about that later on in this series, where I will take a look at a couple of them. So, as I said, remember to change your password and mix it up. Now, let's go back to privacy and security. We have already talked about the private account. Now look at activity status. This allows people that follow you and people you message with to see when you are active on Instagram. If you are very infrequent in your activity, it doesn't really matter if this is on or off. If you have a very set pattern where you are on your Instagram at certain points of time, always the same, I suggest you don't have this on. Just for the simple reason that you don't want people to be able to figure out your behavioral patterns. The next thing I want you to take a look at is comments and edit comment settings. I have not yet done this on this specific account, but on all other social media accounts, I have added a long list of keywords that I want blocked from my comment section. For this one, I have right now just used default keywords, and this will block any comments including very common negative keywords that you don't want to see in your comment section. But for all others account, I have a list somewhere between 250 and 300 words at this point that I keep on adding to when something I don't want to see again shows up in my comment section. Whether it's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, no matter which social platform, I always have my keyword filters there. Now let's go back to privacy and setting and continue scrolling down a little bit until we come to the maybe most important part, a two-factor authentication. I suggest that you have this set up on every social media platform you are on. I have already set it up. In my case, I used text message. There are some third-party apps you can use for this. I prefer to use text message. Every time I log in to my Instagram account, I get a text message with a numerical code that I have to put in, a confirmation code that I have to put in to be able to log in. So even if someone should figure out my very random password and try to log in, the message would go to my phone and the code would go to my phone. So without at the same time hacking my phone, they couldn't get very far. So two-factor identification is something I really want everybody on all platforms to enable. Now, there are a couple of things that you can do only on phone or on Facebook when it comes to Instagram. Because as you know, Instagram is owned by Facebook. One is payment and order options. If you are a frequent shopper on Instagram, you see an ad and you buy it, you have the possibility to save your credit or debit card information. I prefer not to. But once again, it's up to you. Those settings can only be done on the phone or directly from Facebook. Another setting that you can control on Facebook that's not so much about security and privacy, more about annoyance, that is your ad preferences. If there are types of ads that you want prohibit Facebook or Instagram to show to you. could be alcohol, tobacco, or something else. Those settings can only be done on the Facebook page. Before I leave today, I want to talk about some general tips when it comes to security and privacy online. And since we're talking Instagram and talking sharing photos, tip number one is, okay, you're out, you're traveling, you're on vacation, you take these beautiful, beautiful vacation photos and you want to share it. I suggest you wait to share those until you are back home. I don't want you to advertise to potential burglars that your home is empty right now because you are on vacation. Tip number two, and I have seen this happen many times. You use a public computer, maybe you are at the library, or you borrow someone's phone to quickly log in and check for something, and you forget to log out. That gives other people access to your account, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, no matter what. If you use someone else's computer, tablet, phone, remember to log out. The third thing is pretty general, and you should know this by now. Be very careful when you click on a link in a message or in an email. Make sure you know who the sender is and that you can trust this link. Number 4, we talked a little bit about third-party applications. One could be the password manager, can be a third-party application, but many social media, you can connect a lot of different third-party applications to make your experience. I don't know what happened there. It looked like it was frozen for a second, so I'm just popping in here in real time and letting that video come up to speed again. So let's see, let's try and finish the end of it. Party application, but many social media, you can connect a lot of different third-party applications to make your experience easier and maybe more fun. But be careful. Not all third-party applications should be used. There are those that they look like something very helpful or very fun and intriguing, but their real purpose is to collect your information. So be very careful with your use of third-party applications. If you are unlucky and you start to see comments in your name or posts that looks like they come from you, but they don't. Either you have used someone else's computer or phone and forgot to log out and gave them access to impose as you, or your account has been hacked. If you think your account has been hacked or someone else is logged in, the first thing you should do is change your password immediately. The second thing is go through these third-party applications. And every application that you can live without and that you are not 100% sure it's safe, revoke their access. If this isn't enough and you still have problem and you believe you've been hacked, I will have a link for Instagram's help section about what to do if you think your account is hacked. Okay, I'm gonna stop right there because that was the important parts that I wanted to talk about today. So now I'm gonna take a look here. I know that DJ put something about security in the very beginning here. Security and privacy is important, and I would recommend doing what you can to protect yourself online. And that is a statement that is hard to argue with. I am going to do what I always do, and that is share the link to the stream. And I hope we can talk a little bit about security and privacy online before we start just chit chatting. Hi, Dorito, welcome. So, I think I am ready to share the link. This was the first time I ever tried the function of sharing a video from my local computer on StreamYard. I think the problem I had today was probably because my computer is a little wanky. I had to restart it just minutes before I was supposed to go live, and I think that was the problem. And that maybe the for some reason maybe my computer didn't catch up. And here he is. Hi, DJ.
Hey, Tia.
How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm good as you can be when you are minutes away from going live and your computer crashes.
Ye-
It's a
ye-
little stressful.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, I was rolling and at like 11:07, I was like, let me message her to see what's going on. So, yeah.
I don't know how late I was. It wasn't that late, I think. It was maybe a couple minutes. But it's always stressful when that happens.
Yeah, I
Um,
know.
let me ask you, when we're talking privacy and security, do
Okay.
you have different passwords for each account and for each platform?
Okay. This is a yes and no answer for me because I do try to create unique passwords for each account I make, but I do tend to use passwords if I forget one.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Do you use, oh, we have a kitty cat.
Hi.
Hi.
I
Little
do
kitties today. Do you use a password manager of any kind, DJ?
yes, it's the built-in password manager I have on my iPad, on my actually on my computer. All my passwords are saved with Google.
Okay.
So,
But you don't have an external password manager.
no, I do not.
Let me confess, I am very bad at this. I often use the same 3 or 4 password that I recycle.
Hmm.
And even though I use the same 3 or 4, sometimes I don't know what password to use when I'm logging in somewhere. If I am on the computer, I have a lot saved in Google, but I am trying out different password managers right now just to find one that works on computer and on mobile, so yeah, I can use it and
Yeah,
save
and,
all there and have
and
very use those strange long series of password that you get randomized
yeah,
for my
and I know
Mhm.
those I know those services like LastPass, Log. You can do the
I
ton
was
of,
looking at one that was an open source, and right now I don't remember the name, but I am trying a couple of them to
yeah,
see what works and what I could recommend. And I'm going to do a video about that eventually. But I am a sinner on this in this case with using the same passwords and not always using all these long randomized passwords. Another question when we're talking about security, and that question just flew out of my brain and I don't remember it.
uh,
Squirrel brain.
My God. Yeah, really squirrel brain.
yeah,
Oh,
he's,
now I remembered. Now I remembered.
well,
Hi,
hey,
Charlotte.
Charlotte,
Hey guys, how are
Hi.
you?
If we if we take talking about YouTube specifically and security, do you have in your about section when you log in, do you use the same email there as you use for your Google account?
No, I don't.
I don't.
I,
Do you have a separate email address just for your YouTube?
Hmm.
Yeah.
no,
Okay, shame on you, DJ.
well,
You
can I
shouldn't do that with Gmail.
explain why? When I first signed up for YouTube 10 plus years ago, I
Didn't have.
I wasn't totally sure on what to do, and I was already gonna jump
Wh-
down to my other email. So
Which means that you have had 10 plus years time to go in to your
Mm-hmm.
YouTube studio, to your setting up your about page and change to another email there. It doesn't change your account or anything. This is just the question about the email that shows up on your about page. Don't let that be the same email as your Google account,
Mm-hmm.
I
because you're making it easier for people to try and hack your Google account if
Mm-hmm.
or your YouTube account if that email address that shows up on the about page is the
And
same.
people can steal your YouTube account that way as well.
Right.
Yep.
yeah, and the whole I I've seen a large YouTube account get hacked, and yet I know that's possible for anyone. And while we're on topic, how many of us have two-factor verification?
I do.
I do.
I have on every one on my account. I use two-factor authentication. From today on YouTube, if you don't have that on YouTube today, you can't log into your YouTube studio.
Yeah.
Start today.
Oh, okay.
I had no
So-
idea.
If you have missed that for your Google account, if you have for some reason forgotten or never put it on, and let me show you where you can see. If you go into studio here, as you see under monetization, you should have a green
Yeah.
check mark under two-step verification.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, and today you can't log into your studio, the way you have to set it up so it works is to go to your Google account and set up the two-step verification for the account that you set up your YouTube account with. If you have several Google accounts, which many of us have, make sure you set the two-step verification on the Google account that you have your YouTube channel connected to. And this is where you go in and the customization in studio and the basic information. The email you put down here, contact information, should not be the same email as you use for your Google account.
Right.
Hmm.
Did you hear me, DJ?
Yep. Walk on it right.
He's changing it right now.
Yeah.
Very good. Because that makes it so much easier. And many things, when we talk about security and privacy, it's easy to avoid if you just take the right steps.
Mhm.
Let me go ahead and change.
I am lucky because I can have on my, I have so many
Email
domain
addresses.
names. No, domain names. And at my web server where I have my websites, I have pixelpia.com, I have pixelpialive.com, I have youtubeforbeginners.com, I have grumpygardengnome.com and .net and .whatever. I have so many domains, and for each domain, I can make endless number of email accounts. So I can set up 100,000 accounts with name at pixelpia.com.
Yeah.
I can create 100,000 accounts of those if I want to. So
No.
very easy to have different email addresses for every account, every social media, and I have like for a Swedish fika, I have pixelpia at swedishfika.com. For this channel and for Pixelpia Live. Pixelpia Live, I'm not sure. Do I have Pixelpia at Pixelpia Live there? And for this one, I use Pixelpia YT at pixelpia.com. So I have a wide variety of emails I can set up depending on what I need. But it is, you can also set up, you can have 100 Gmail addresses. There is nothing that stops you from having that.
Yeah.
But make sure you don't use the official Gmail account address, or not Gmail, the official Google account address anywhere but logging into Google. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about when it comes to security and privacy, or anything you heard in the little video that you thought were confusing or unclear?
No, I just have to say that I'm absolutely stunned that I understood everything you said tonight.
It wasn't anything really complicated, was
I
it?
know, but you know me.
Yeah. No, it's but that's the thing I think with security. Most of it is common sense.
Yeah, well, yeah, with the security and privacy, yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of it is
It
just
changed her name. Hi, Adrian.
Hi, Adrian.
Oh dear.
How are you?
Name change?
The Dreiser Journal, Farmstead Smith. Is this a new one, or did you just change your
Oh, hey,
old
hey,
one?
Adrian.
The name threw me.
How soon is the move, Adrian?
Oh, yeah. Let us know.
Yeah.
And have you got everything in place? Are you ready for it?
Oh, that's going to be so huge for you. I
Oh,
can't
you're
even.
changing the name just. Okay.
I can't even imagine having to
Oh,
organize
okay.
something that huge.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
right.
great. That's great. What
Beginning
a happy
of
Christmas.
Myself.
Whoa, a month away.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you managed to get all animals and everything figured out?
Mm,
And have you managed to sell your home? Now I'm really poking
wow,
here.
yeah.
None of my business, so you don't have to tell me.
Look, I want to show you something. This is crazy. That's
Yeah.
Jules harassing me because every time I come in the kitchen now, he sits at the door and waits for me to open it.
Oh, he
And
gets
I'm being
outside.
stubborn tonight. I'm not doing. I'm not. He's a very patient
Yeah.
person.
But
It is a lot.
I will say that
Okay.
for like Instagram, I did have a app that I get a code from when I log in.
Verification.
Okay.
Yeah.
What code? What code? Not what code.
The
What app is that?
the app I use is Dual Mobile.
What was it again?
Dual Mobile.
Go Mobile
Yes.
as one word?
No, two words.
Go Mobile. And is that
No,
kind of
not
manager?
Go Mobile. DUO.
My hat is all
Do
twisted.
D
Stupid.
U Duo Mobile.
Yes, Duo Mobile.
Oh,
Duo.
Duo. Are you using DUO? You said
Yes,
Duo Mobile.
DUO.
Duo. Is that the Google app you're using?
I'm not.
Duo is a
Duo.
Google app.
Hi,
Let me see.
Marisol.
Do we have a little fish here?
Oh, Marcel's here.
Hey, Marcel.
Hi. Is this the one? Let me share this again quickly, just for you to say yes or no. This one? Wait, I must show it. Here, Google Duo. Do you recognize that symbol?
No, not.
So it's not that. Okay.
Huh.
Duo Mobile.
Is it DUAL?
Duo Mobile Security.
Let me look.
Here, I found something. No, that's not it. Duo Mobile. Duo Mobile app.
Yeah, the app has a green background with DUO in white kind of boxy levels.
I'm trying to find it, but it's Duo Mobile. Let me see if it is mobile for Android. Maybe it is a specific iOS app.
For iPhone, if DJ has it.
No, actually, it is
Oh,
on.
wait, I can't find it here. So let me do this and see if I can find it in the App Store. Duo Mobile.
From what I see, it is on the Play Store as well. If
Wait, let me move.
Peter, I'm gonna
Here,
film.
you see it now?
Yes,
That's
That's
it.
the one green.
yes,
Okay.
that's the one.
So I am putting that on my list here to look at Duo Mobile Security. So can you save all your passwords in there, or does it
No,
suggest to have?
that's not like a password manager. That just to get like a verification code.
Okay, so this is a third-party app,
Yes,
and you're using it to get a verification. So when you okay, so this is what I talked about when I choose to use text. I set up my phone number and I get a text message with the code. You use a third party app instead.
yes, and
Okay, so that is not the type of app I was going to make that video about. I
yeah,
want
and just to
you
kind of
are not using a
well, could I
a
explain
management
what?
app.
No, for passwords, my password manager on my iPad is built into
Yeah.
the system.
Okay. But the Duo, it's like having, like I have a text message, and that's okay whether you want to use an app for that or you want to use your phone.
Mhm.
The thing is, with the other system, the other thing I'm talking about
Yeah,
is the password management system. What's so good with that is that you can have a password that is XS exclamation point 325 underscore and
yeah, yeah,
20 numbers
Mhm.
and have totally different ones for each account, each social media, and you don't have to remember that.
yeah. Like, and let me just that the system password manager on my iPad does recommend a password to you that has that type of pattern in it. So
Mhm.
if I wanted to use a complicated password, I just hit each suggested password and
Mm-hmm.
it gives me a randomized password that doesn't make any sense to anyone else,
Right.
but it's super secure and unlikely to be guessed.
But can you do that on the Duo app? Save for each account? Because the
Um,
thing is, I don't know if all social media have Duo as an alternative for, because what Duo does, what you are talking about there, is to use Duo for the two-step verification. You use Duo, I use my text messages on my phone. But I don't know if every social media can use Duo for the two-step verification as a third
You mean
party,
if it's
because
compatible?
well,
Compatible?
I'm actually looking at the accounts they support right now,
yeah.
and you have your pretty much all your major ones: Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit, Skype. It has any platform you could possibly think of except for YouTube. So,
Do they have all the short forms platforms like TikTok? I don't even remember the names of them all right now.
no, they did not have TikTok. They
No.
have,
That's the problem when you use a third party app, that each platform decides what third party connections they allow. But if you always use your phone as the way of getting the two-step verification, it doesn't matter what platform, because all platforms can send a text.
yeah, and I'm looking at it more. It does have an option to add a account that they don't support, where you scan a QR code or using a activation code.
But is that only for, what I'm asking you is if this is only to use with two-step verification, or is it also to save passwords for all the different accounts?
It's only two-step verification.
Only two-step verification.
Yes.
Okay. Because it's more important, I think, from a security perspective, that you really can use these scrambled long passwords and use a different one for each of your account.
Mhm.
That is the most important part when it comes to secure your different accounts. And if you don't want to have a long list of crazy passwords written down and always have with you, the password management systems can be of such a great help. But I haven't found anyone that I am really, really happy with yet. So I'm still using Google, which isn't the safest place
Yeah,
to save all your password. And I used to save them on my Samsung account on my phone, which
yeah. I mean,
isn't the safest either. So I am really on the hunt for a really, really good password manager.
yeah, and
So you
I
can use
told,
all these crazy passwords.
yeah, and I agree with you. It's definitely not safe to keep it on the local device. I mean, I don't disagree with you on that, but that's the best way I have found that works for me right now.
Low Fishy, not just monetized YouTubers. Starting today, every account must have two-step verification enabled to get into their studio. Starting today. So if you haven't done it and you try to log into your studio, I don't know how it will look. I guess you will get the pop-up that says that you have to go to your Google account that is associated with your YouTube channel and set up two-step verification to be able to log in.
Yeah,
I am
I
not
sure
sure.
hope they make it easy for folks who haven't done it.
The thing is
Yeah.
that people have told me, I don't know this because I set it up years ago, as soon as it was available. But
Yeah, that's
I have heard people say that it's more complicated to set it up from the Google site that than it was to set it up on YouTube,
I see.
because you have to find your channel, make sure it's the right Google account associated with your channel and so forth.
Right.
And it's more steps to take to get it set up on Google than it was to set it up on YouTube. But if it's not done from today, you should not be able to log into your YouTube studio. So I'm not sure, but it's not just monetized YouTubers, it's all accounts. So I wonder how many accounts that will just disappear because people don't remember what account they have on Google that is connected, or they
Mhm.
Oh
don't
my goodness.
remember their password to their Google account, so they can't go in there and set up their two-step verification.
I don't even want to think about that because that would happen to me if I hadn't done it.
So it's very suitable to talk security today and talk password, because I have had Google accounts, and especially when I was younger in the beginning of all this, before I had my own domains and you used Gmail for everything. I have had Gmail accounts, and back in the days when it was Hotmail and AOL and all of those, I have had accounts that I have no idea how I would retrieve them today.
I've got one Google account that I can't remember the password to.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
The
and
phone number that I used as a security thing,
Receiving. Yeah.
I don't use that phone number anymore. So,
So you
because it
can't.
was so many years ago, so I can't
Mhm.
even use it, which is fine. I mean, I never looked at it anyway.
But can you
So,
imagine how many people that have a YouTube channel
mhm,
that never use anything else of Google? You guys know me. I use everything Google. So
right.
my Google account is
yeah,
like it's the nerve of my nerdiness here. But you imagine how many people have YouTube accounts. They just go straight into YouTube, into their studio, and today they try to log on and they can't get to studio. They
Right.
are
Mm.
prefer to go to their Google account and log in there to set up two-step verification, and they don't remember their Google password.
Oh
How,
my.
how many do you think that will happen to?
Oh, I have to tell you,
A lot.
uh,
I had my son watch your video on Google Notes so that he
Yeah.
could learn how to use it to help him remember to write. He's going to start using, because he has a Chromebook assigned to him at school and they use Google Classroom and all of that. And he
Yeah.
keeps forgetting to write his assignments down so that he can turn them in on time. And I'm like, you have a computer. Use Google Notes and remind yourself.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
he said, but I don't know how. I said, well, I got an answer for you. I can. My friend
And
Pia can
Google
teach you how to
Calendar,
do that.
Google Calendar, Google Keep, all of them
Yeah.
Yeah.
interacting with each other.
Well,
I
he was
mean,
very interested and he asked me if he could watch some more to learn more about it. And I said, sure. When you come home from school tomorrow, we'll watch some more of them. I
yeah,
want him to watch one at a
good.
time so he can practice them, and
Yeah,
learn them before he moves
absolutely,
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely.
But I
I
thought you
mean,
would be interested to know that.
oh yeah, I'm really glad to hear that. And you
Yeah.
know me, I am a real Google nerd. I mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't function without Google.
I
What?
like Google. I like Google a lot.
Why is he anti-Google? Is it the company itself is anti, or because their products are good?
Yeah.
I mean, people can be anti-Google because of politics,
Right.
but let me see what's
They're the
Marcel
company.
saying. All their videos delete. Wait, I missed something here. Let me go back, Marcel, and see.
Oh, she's talking about people's YouTube channels getting hacked and either their videos getting deleted. I've heard a lot of people,
Mhm.
I guess, had the whole channel stolen
Absolutely.
and couldn't even get their money and all of that too, which was really
Absolutely.
sad to me.
But
So sad.
in those cases, that's where the two-step verification come in, because if they go in and they try to change the password, because that's what they do. If they manage to hack your account,
Mm-hmm.
first thing they do is to try to change the password.
Mhm.
Right.
So
yeah,
you can, but then the verification goes to you.
Right.
yeah, and I will just say this because I do have two Google accounts for my gaming channel. I totally forgot to turn on two-step verification
Oh,
until now. And it's
so
midnight here. And I
wait,
was
stop.
okay.
Could you log into the studio on your gaming account?
Yes.
So it's until midnight tonight then? Or
I
did you do the two-step verification first?
just did it. For
Oh,
me, it's 12:07
Yeah.
a.m. I just turned it on 1 minute ago.
oh wow.
Was it 12:07? What did you say?
It's 12:07 now.
Yep. And I
Oh.
turned
Oh, yeah.
We're at different times.
Yeah. That's why I didn't understand it. But
each.
before you turned it on, did you try to log into the
That's
studio?
how I got to it.
Oh,
I logged into Studio and it did not redirect me. I was able to navigate. I went to monitor, sensor, hit on. It redirected me to Google. I went through the steps. That's it.
Okay.
oh,
So
that makes sense to me.
you could still log in to monetization and that way get to.
Yes.
Yeah, but Google doesn't shut off, and Google's day doesn't change until 12 California time. So I
That's
bet
true.
you
That's true.
at 2 a.m. our time, it'll be the cutoff, and 3 a.m. his time.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
So
So,
you
well,
can
I don't know if it will be with these changes. It's often that it slowly rolls out. So not everybody
Mhm.
at once, but it will be reach a point where you won't be able to log into your studio without the two-step verification.
Yeah.
So if you haven't done that, make sure you do it now. I just had to do it once because the 4 channel I still have are all under one Google
Main
account.
account. Yeah. And
So
yeah, I did that, and that's what made me thought of it. Like, I first checked my other channel and made the sensation that had the green check mark. Something,
what about your other channel,
some,
your
something
DJ,
well, hold
your creation with CP?
up. That had it too.
That had it too, and animation.
Sensation, yes. That had it too. The
It was
free,
just the gaming that didn't have it.
yes, because the
Okay,
gaming,
let me see here. Bitwarden. Okay.
Is my Wi-Fi going out?
Your Wi-Fi is going out. Do you have bad weather?
No, I think it
Let me
was
see.
spinning. No, I'm not bad weather today.
I,
Cold.
Bitwarden. That's one I should look into then. I
Think we're getting our
really
free-
I really want to make a video about good
Managers.
password managers. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I
yeah,
need to try them out for myself first, and
Sure,
Great.
yeah.
it should be easy because all I do is for beginners, so it must be really easy to use and to set up. But
You'll do a tutorial on that, right?
I will eventually. Yes, that's what I want to do. I want to
course.
do a tutorial about good password managers,
Right.
easy to use and secure password managers. But there are so many things you can do for security. I, for example, also often use my VPN that I pay for to hide where I actually am in the world.
Hmm.
So
Uh,
when someone's sniffing around my account, it looks like I'm in Sweden or in India or wherever I choose to be for
Yeah.
the day.
Hmm.
I can be a little bit of a security nerd from times to times. Usually not.
When
But
I get a PC, I'm going to have to be a security nerd. And I don't know how to be one. So I'll be watching all your videos.
that's the thing. That's what I want to be able to be, a place where people that are not nerds, because most people aren't nerds. I know
Yeah.
and I have been since since the first personal computer came out 100 years ago, but not really. But
Hmm.
I mean,
30, maybe 40.
I
Hmm.
remember when I was, what can I have been, 13, 14. It's at least 50 years ago when
Wow.
that's when my nerdiness started.
Oh,
We went at as a school trip, a class trip, to the first computer at the University of Stockholm in Sweden.
oh wow.
This was before personal computers. And that
Yeah.
was in the basement. It was like a house in glass, and the people that were working on the computer looked like scientists with white coats.
Lab coats. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We weren't even allowed to go close to it. We had to stand outside the glass to look in. And that was
Hmm.
And Pia said, I want to be one of those when I grow up.
and that computer could do, I think I would need 50 of those to do what I can do on my phone.
Right, right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that would take up a whole town. I mean, little town I live in now, if every house here was converted to a computer from back then, maybe they all together could do what my phone can do. Not even, I don't think that would be
Yeah.
enough.
No.
You know, Pia, when I started high school in 1980, and I would never forget the summer I was choosing my classes that I wanted to take for the next year. And my father saw on there that I could take a computer class. And he says, you really need to take a class on this. This is the future. And I looked at him and I said, I don't have any interest in that. Not even a little bit. And now look at me. I'm posting stuff for the whole world to see. But I mean, I'm behind the power curve. And if I would have taken his advice back then, there's no telling what I would know at this point, you know?
That's
Yeah.
when my nerdiness started. Then the first time I tried to do something was on these old Commodore.
Yes, yes.
Where you had to write. I mean, we wrote code.
DOS code.
And saved it on. This was even before we had discs.
Before floppy.
This was, we wrote the code and saved it on a cassette, a regular cassette player that you used to play music with.
My brother
That's
had
where
one
you
of those.
saved your code, and you wrote code like page after page after page. Took you hours, and what you got out of that was you could play Pong.
You can play a game.
Pong with the ball going back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was, but I loved it. I mean, I could spend hours coding that way. That's when my nerdiness started. And the first computer, that giant computer, it was in the early 70s.
Uh-huh.
But then Sweden was always pretty fast. So when I started my teacher's degree, and let me see, that was late 80s, mid-late 80s, 86, 85, something. Our university was really far ahead, and we had internet and we had computer. Everybody worked on computers, and I mean, because all the universities, that's the first place where internet started. It started with when it started to be public, when it wasn't just government.
Governmental. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the universities around the world started to connect.
Oh,
And that's how it really started. And
mhm.
we had chat rooms and we talked with students from all over the world. And I mean, so I've always been a nerd, always been.
No. Yeah,
But
and
I want to do with my YouTube channel is to do tutorials that can help people that are not nerds,
yeah.
especially people at my age that didn't grow up. I mean, I was lucky. I grew up with being a nerd and
Mm.
in the computer. My first boyfriend, his job was to work on computers and computer security and coding. And I mean, I have always, since it started, I have been in this environment and built my own computers and whatever.
Wow.
And
Mm.
so, but I know most people my age ain't that at home with it.
Mm.
I want to make tutorials for people that, like I said today, people that maybe don't go online because they are worried about security and privacy and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Is possible to protect yourself.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
How many of you do all your banking business online?
I do.
I make transfers online, but that's about it. I don't pay my bills online. I do it on the phone because I just feel better doing it that way, and I'm not sure why. But
I
well,
do it all online.
that
How
thing.
many of you do your taxes online?
Oh yeah, we do that. Yeah.
I don't do my taxes.
Oh, you don't do your taxes. Okay.
Well, I'm on disability, so my taxes get
Yeah.
taken out of my check.
How many of you, what else can you do online or on paper?
Gina, you have to pay taxes on disability?
Hmm.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, but I take it out so that I don't really notice it. Take it out
Right, I
before
got
I
you.
get my check.
Right, right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Then my husband has a VA disability, and all of that is tax free. But then he also works a full-time job, so we have to file that. And we
Yeah.
have to report, the VA, but they don't tax us on it. We just have to show them that we get it, which is
Yeah.
Okay.
Here.
Yeah, that is.
It is.
Yeah.
The world is weird.
taxes are weird. He does those too. I don't do
Talk
them.
about it. Listen how my year has been. It
Yeah.
started with when I did my taxes. Before I did my taxes, let me see, they were postponed this year. When was it we had to do it? Because of COVID, or
Yes,
was
they
that
were
last year?
postponed.
But
Yeah.
well, before that, I got a letter from IRS that they had gone over my taxes from the year before or something in
Mhm.
this mess of IRS. And they said I owe them some $100. I don't remember. So I paid that. Let's say it was $600. I don't know the numbers right now. I paid that. Then came tax time. And I did my taxes. And then IRS sent me say that I got 1,300 back. So I first paid in these 600. Then they sent me check for 1,300.
Right.
And then a couple of months went. I get a new letter from IRS that I owe them those 600, but now it was some added fees on it, so it was 700. So then I had so those money was like jumping back and forth. I paid, I got it all back, and more than that, and I had to pay again. It's such a mess. It's such a mess.
Terrible.
It's like
Yeah.
so. But I do it all online. I do everything online.
Yeah.
Not everything. Grocery shopping I still do in the store. I like to look at my groceries before I buy them.
I buy all of my meat in person, but I will buy, like, I make orders for the kids' cereal and cheese and breakfast items and their lunches and things like that. I'll order that and I get it delivered. I pay Walmart like $10 a month and I get free delivery. Like, well, as many times a month as I want. And I like that because if I run out of something, it makes it easier on Wesley too, because, because I can't drive. He's the runner in the family. He's the one that has to take everybody everywhere. And if I can have the groceries delivered 2 or 3 times a week, maybe it keeps him from having to run by there on his way home from work. And so I figure it's the least I can do.
Well, the reason we still go to the grocery store is that gives us something to do while Christy is at therapy.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
We
yeah.
have no time, so that's perfect. And I like to see, especially my veggies and things like that. I like to see when I see them.
See, now if I just build around the Walmart, the Walmart Super Center, I wouldn't just buy groceries. I'd have to buy this top for Violet and this pair of sweatpants for Murphy. And then I'd see something Poppy wanted. And then I'd say, oh, that tripod's cool. Let me take that home too,
No, I hate shopping. So I go in, I buy what I need to buy and out. I just hate going in stores.
I used to.
Everything else I buy online.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do it for myself. I can buy clothes online, but my kids my boy is growing so fast. I have to try everything on him because and now the girl, I can get her stuff online too. I bought her unmentionables online. I sure did. I knew what her size was, and she doesn't like the kind that hook in the back or the front. She likes like a sports type thing. And so I got her some of those and they fit her beautifully. I'm like, go, Mom.
You can say bra on this channel. It's okay.
Well, I know. I didn't want to offend anybody.
You don't have to worry about that.
Somebody was asking DJ if he had a bra yesterday.
Oh dear.
Someone suggested that he should have a bra. I was naked yesterday again. And
so how does it feel being 27, DJ?
28.
Are you 28 now?
No,
wait a minute. You told me you were going to be 27.
No, I'm 27.
Why did I think you turned 28?
I don't know. I was born 94.
Okay.
And the stream said 27.
Because I have been around you so long, so it feels like you must be 28 by now.
Oh my God, my son's going to be 26 next month. It just dawned on me when you said that, DJ.
27?
Yeah, I mean,
lies.
My bad.
Like, when you actually think about it, Peter, out of the 3 of you here, you have been targeted to me for the longest.
Mhm.
time.
Forever. Say it as it is. Forever.
Forever. My goodness.
Ever. No,
But
I'm just joking with you. You know that.
I,
No, we
I,
have known each other a long time. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, when you think about it, I've been here since you began this channel.
Yeah.
So,
And when did I begin this channel? Well, I began when I
well,
started to do something on it.
yeah,
Not when
when
I
you
began it because
began
my account
posting,
is. Let me see. When did I start my account?
yeah,
That was long before I. No, that was long before I started making videos.
yeah,
I
2012,
started it because what happened was when I first started the account,
yeah,
it was more January 2012.
yeah, January 10th, 2012.
2012. And back then, I started creating videos in 19, was it? January 19, I think.
I believe
We
so.
started the same year because I started in July of 19.
Yeah, I think it was January 19 I started.
Run down.
So the first 7 years,
Mhm.
I used it more to, I put up videos that always were private. They
Mhm.
were for like my friends and family in Sweden.
Family. Mhm.
That's how we used it.
Hmm.
So,
It-
and I
And
feel
you know what's funny? You actually began your account like a few weeks after I began mine.
but you began yours and made videos right away.
Mm. Mm.
Well, I mean,
Public videos, I mean.
it took me a year to
Yeah,
post, but
to publish your first video.
yeah,
Oh
I
gosh.
be I began December 2011 on this account, so really a few weeks just before you made yours. So,
I'm going to show you what I put up here in the beginning.
well,
These are
I'm
not public, but let me show you. Wait, stop. This was things that I like sent to my family in Sweden and stuff like that.
nice.
This is 30 seconds, so it's not. I'm not sharing the audio because there is really no audio. This is my dog on the treadmill.
Treadmill. Oh.
Alright,
He loved his treadmill. So this, I have deleted a lot of this stuff, but I saved this and I saved something else.
Oh.
yeah, and
He's a big guy.
He's getting his
He was
steps in.
He is.
120 pounds.
He's what?
He was 120 pounds.
Oh my.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna head out, guys. I will see you next time. Keep on
you
while
next
good
time,
cartoons.
Cartoons. Good
Good
night,
night,
DJ.
DJ.
Night, guys. Bye.
Bye. So those were things that I used my YouTube account for in the beginning, putting up George on the treadmill and send a link to my family in Sweden. And I don't know what else I had on there. I don't have very much left of the old stuff I had. Let me see. Oh, I have a short thing where we're in the pool swimming and having fun and stuff like that.
Right.
But I never made like videos back then.
Right.
But I
I have a
had
few videos on my channel that are private that I sent links to my family. Because, you know, I'm real funny about putting my kids on the internet, like on YouTube especially. And you might see a glimpse of them now and then, but nothing.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah.
I just can't do it. And I watch this one guy who talks about family channels, and I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh, that's a big thing.
See, I'm learning that, and some of the things that they do and expose their kids, it's really sad to me. You know, it just the personal stuff. And one of them, the mom, how do I say this?
Are you talking about her that had her kid cry because of the dog?
Oh, now I did hear about that one, but no, I'm talking about one who the mom and dad have an open marriage situation.
Oh.
And they post their friends on, and then the kids go to school
and
get made fun of because I saw your mom, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's no way I could do that to my child. No way, no way, no way, no way.
That's terrible.
It is terrible. I couldn't believe some of the stuff that goes down on this thing.
Oh, those family channels are not all of them. There
No,
are
not all of them, I guess,
that are good and serious, and they don't exploit the kids. But there are a lot of exploiting your kids within the family channel.
There's some people who exploit their kids from the day before they're born, all the way up to teenagers. It's insane to me. And so I try really hard. And you know, I'm a mom and a grandma, and I like to brag on my grandkids and my kids a little bit. But the thought of exploiting them like that it makes me sick. So I try really hard not to do anything like that.
No.
And be very conscious of what I'm doing when I'm, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Did you guys see that the little girl that was missing in Australia was found?
No.
They found her. They busted into some guy's house and found her alive and well, and
she's okay. Okay.
She's okay. Yeah.
Why did they bust into this guy's house? Did they have?
Well, I'll tell you, the somebody that lives in the same town as him, which the town has like 300 people in it, saw him buying diapers or nappies of some sort, probably overnight diapers. And he knew that the person didn't have a kid. So he called the police and said, hey, I just saw this guy buying diapers and he doesn't have any kid. So they went to investigate.
Thank God.
I know, right? What are the chances? I just think it's amazing. It's amazing that, you know, finally some good news in all of.
Yeah.
And good that people are observant.
Yes.
Especially in such a tiny village or whatever you call it, 300 people. They all probably knew each other.
Yes, and that's what they said on the report was that he lived not very far from the family of the child that he stole.
Yeah.
and apparently had followed them and stalked them and took her, which is just creepy.
Yeah.
it is.
Oh,
It is. It is. There is so much going on. And I mean, this is the family channels on YouTube is just the scratching the surface. If you start to look on internet as a whole, it's
mhm.
and go
Yeah.
down to the what is it called? Dark internet, where you
Oh, the dark
really,
web.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just
My husband told me
disgusting.
about that. I have no interest.
No, no, no. But I mean,
Yeah. I know what you mean. It's just sinister. It's very sinister.
Yeah.
I can't understand how these people got so screwed up in their brains.
Right?
I mean,
No, I think some people are just born that way.
Yeah. True.
I think they're just born that way.
why would some people be born evil?
Well, why do some people are born with diabetes? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a,
Medical
I
condition.
honestly believe it's a,
It's a
they're
medical
born with a
disorder.
mental illness or something's missing in them. Something is missing. You know?
But diabetes, we know how to cure. Why wouldn't we have found a cure for evilness?
Oh, yeah.
Your diabetes.
See, now
you
if I
can-
had the answer to that question, I'd
No,
have
but
to do some
you
lazy
can
all
not
day.
cure it, but you can prevent it. I mean,
Yeah.
you can control it.
control it. Yes.
Yeah. Why can't we control these evil minds? I mean,
I don't know.
I don't get.
Because
I don't
evil is
get-
not within
I'll
us.
tell you why, Pia. I think I have the answer. Because you and I and Gino, nobody knows what's going on between our ears.
No.
And it's the same with everybody else. You never know what's going on between somebody's ears. And if it's that ugly, nobody volunteers that kind of information, you know.
True.
Um,
Mhm.
But if it's that ugly and nobody volunteers the information, then they have an awareness of it being ugly.
I
If
think
they
they do.
keep it quiet.
Mhm.
Well, I don't know
So
if they have an awareness of it being ugly, but they do have an awareness of I can get in trouble for this.
And they hide it.
and if you have that awareness, you know that it's
That it's not right, that it's not normal, that it, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
So how I will never understand it.
Well, I
That's
think
just-
people with good sense and decency shouldn't be able to wrap their head around it, you know.
Mhm.
So,
But if we could do something about it.
I agree,
Right.
The thing
but I'm
is,
just not that smart.
if we don't try to understand it, we leave the playing field open.
Well, I don't know about that because you know that's what my daughter does for a living. She's a licensed clinical social worker, and she
Yeah.
tries to reach children before they get to that stage
Get to
of
the
life
point.
where they're making those terrible decisions. And she tries
That's
to.
what I mean. That there are things that happens on the way
Mm-hmm.
that
Oh, definitely.
that position.
Yeah, trauma, and
Yeah.
look, I asked her one time. I said, because you know she used to work at a place where it was these kids' last chance before they went to kiddie prison.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I'd ask her,
Mhm.
what causes these kids to be, is it trauma? Is it mental illness? Is it bad parenting? And you know what she said to me? Yes.
All of the above. I know.
Yeah. Mhm.
I worked at a
Not right.
special school in Sweden with kids. These were 7th, 8th, and 9th graders that couldn't go in the regular school. So it was 2 middle schools that we served. we had like a little house, like, well, we live in a big house, but a small little house where we had this school. We had at the most 6 students.
Yeah.
When I started there, we had 4 boys and 2 girls. We were 2 teachers, 1 social worker, and 1 what's called in Swedish fritidspedagog. They are almost like a social worker, but they are more on the after school activities like sports or music, and they cover all of that. So we were 4 adults with 6 students
Right.
in a little house far away from the schools, far away from all the other students, in a little sleeper town. So the houses around those people were at work during the day when we were there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this was like the last step, just like your daughter said, before it was
Locked up.
jail.
Yeah.
And these kids, it was lack of parenting,
Mm-hmm.
or it was not just lack of parenting. It was,
Terrible parenting, abuse.
I mean, yeah.
Mhm.
We had
Mhm.
one of the girls, I mean, it was terrible. She came from divorced parents, so she had lived with her mother until she was 12. When her mother decided, now I'm done with parenting, threw her out, and she had to move to her father in another town, in this town where I
Oh.
worked, who
Mhm.
she have had no real contact with all her childhood.
Oh.
He lived by himself, yet a 12-year-old daughter in his lap all of a sudden, knew nothing about teenage or preteen girls.
Right.
Nothing. That relationship crashed from the beginning. And I mean, who blames you? She
Right.
ended up in a new town, no friends, no nothing, with a dad that she didn't know, who had no idea how to take care of a preteen girl.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He hadn't been a father a day in his life. So I
Mm.
mean, everybody could have told from the beginning, this is gonna crash.
Right.
It crashed and burned, and after 6 months, he threw her out.
What?
Yep.
A 12-year-old?
So at this point, she
Can
had
you do
already. You can't. No, you can't. At this point, she had already, long before this happened, screwed up her situation at school. That's how she ended up at our little school. She was a student at one of these 2 middle schools that we serve.
Right.
That's how she ended up with us. So she was already in our little school. And how this worked were the kids came in the morning. We started the day with having breakfast together.
Mm-hmm.
So they had food, and we had lunch there. We got lunch. They bussed the lunch up to us. They drove it up. And she was in our school system already. When she got thrown out, at first we didn't know. It took maybe 2 weeks before we figured out that she had nowhere to live any longer. Because
Oh.
she came in early in the morning. She was there. She was always early, even before this happened. She was
Right.
early in the classroom, in the school. And we had a washer and dryer at school. So she came in and she washed her clothes in the morning. Asked if she, we had asked her why. Well, our washer is broke, she said. So,
Mhm.
I mean, okay, if you want to. But then this repeated every other day.
Oh
We
my.
started to think something is not wrong, not right here. So I sat her down and I was rather tough with her and really put pressure on her. So
Mhm.
finally, she admitted that she had nowhere to live. Her dad had thrown her out and blah, blah, blah. So we contacted everybody again. These kids already had a social worker that was on their case, and they had contact with police and contact with everybody. So we
Right.
contacted everybody, including her father, and had meetings where we said, this can't go on. You can't just throw her out.
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, it doesn't work. And we understand. We told him that we understand why it doesn't work with the two of you as a family unit.
Mhm.
Nobody questions that, but you can't just throw her out on the street.
At 12 years old. Crying
Yeah.
out.
Or no, at this time she was 13 maybe.
Mm.
But I mean, she was very young, and she slept one night here, one night there with guys that were older than her. And
Oh.
even
Oh.
though she never admitted it, we knew that she was taken advantage of.
Oh,
I
sure.
mean,
Sure.
without a doubt. Even though that was one thing that she never admitted to us.
Right.
So what happened was that we decided, the two schools and the principals we worked with and the social worker were really, really good. So we decided that we have to find a school where she can live and go to school and get therapy and all of that.
Mhm.
So the social workers started to look, and they found one pretty quick that was not close to where we were. So she had to move again, but she would live there, and all the
Mhm.
resources she needed were there.
Mhm.
But they
Mhm.
didn't have an opening for 2 weeks.
Oh.
So we had 2 weeks that we said, well, we can't just let her live on the streets.
Right.
Mhm.
So I said to them that I could let her live at my place for 2 weeks. I had room. Me and my boyfriend had separated at this point, so I had plenty of room.
Right.
So I said, okay, it's 2 weeks. She can live at my place for 2 weeks. But the problem was that it could create friction in the school if she was living with me and I
Yeah.
was with the
Oh,
authorities.
the other students.
So yeah, with the other students, and these kids, they had no shame. I mean, they were scared of me, but besides that, they hadn't. I mean, they didn't care. If
Right.
they one of the boys, one of my colleagues, one year she was pregnant, and one of the guys kicked her in the stomach.
Oh,
And
for the love of God.
7, 8 months, big. So these kids didn't care. So that was a problem. What are we going to do? I said, I'm willing to let her stay with me, but
Mhm.
we don't want to create a situation at school that can be problematic. So
Yeah.
the principals talked about it, and they decided, they were really, really good people involved. So they said, okay, you stay home with her for 2 weeks. She does her schoolwork at home, you stay home, you do what you need to do, and we put in a substitute for you at the school.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
I was paid to be her teacher at home, and
Right.
I had a substitute at school just to avoid the problems. So that
Oh.
worked fine. And after 2 weeks, I drove her down to her new school.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't hear anything from her for almost a year. And then I got a letter. This was before cell phones and texting and all of that. So I got a letter in the mail from her where she thanked me, and she told me everything about how
Oh.
things were going there. And they have started therapy with her and her dad. So he came down once a week to the school. They had family therapy, and they had started to build some kind of relationship again. And
Oh, wow.
she was in 8th grade, middle of 8th grade when this happened. And in Sweden, middle school is grade 7 to 9. So she had 1 year left in middle school, and she would finish that year at this place that she were living. And
Mhm.
during that year, her father kept on coming for this therapy and everything. And she hoped that when it was time to start high school, that she could move back home again. So
Oh, wow.
it looked very, very promising. And then
Promising, yeah.
Yeah.
and one morning, all of a sudden, she walks into the school, to our school. And she was back home. She was living with her dad. They had figured out a way to get this to work. And I mean, it was
Oh,
I'd have
that's
cried.
incredible. And she
I-
just came in and gave me a big hug, and everything was like, she was so, so thankful for everything we had done for
Bless
her.
her heart.
But I mean,
That's special.
when I saw these kids, I can see in them, if they don't get stopped, they can be evil.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
they have been
Mhm.
through so much.
Mhm.
I mean, this poor girl, she will forever be in my heart. I still have old photos of her from school and from
Aw.
the 2 weeks she lived with me. And she will forever be in my heart. I mean, going through all that at that young age,
Right.
12
Yeah.
years old, being thrown to live with a father that you don't even know. And
Mm.
then at 13, getting thrown out on the street. And
I
still
can't
being
even imagine that. I really can't.
nope.
And I tell my kids all the time, because one of mine's going to be 13 here real soon, and the other one's 16. And they didn't have to live the same life that my older 5 kids did, because I was a different person back then. I'm a grown up now, but I wasn't when I had them. And
Yeah.
I tell my kids all the time, you don't even know how easy you have it. Because when I had the 3 oldest kids, there were times when I didn't even know where the next meal was coming from. It was difficult. Well, when I was a single mom, and taking care of all of it, it was very difficult. And when I met my husband, I weighed 102 pounds.
Wow.
Because I would feed them and then
Before you
eat what was left on
stop.
their plates, if there was any left. And if not, I drank tea and went to bed. So, of course, after I met Poppy, I gained about 20 pounds within about 3 months.
Well,
But
I mean, I agree with you. Many of the kids today don't know
they have
how.
no clue how hard life can be.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that they're in that situation, but sometimes I think a little bit of pressure might not be a bad thing for them, because I'm telling you, those
Yes.
3 kids of mine,
Maybe not pressure, but you wish that somehow they would be aware and really feel the pain that some other
Yeah.
kids live under.
or at least have some empathy or something, because
Yeah.
and I'm not saying they're not empathetic to other people's situations, because they're very thoughtful children, but they
But
just don't
Perhaps
understand
real
the depth.
understanding. Yeah.
Right. And
a lot of that is-
those
That's
3
what I
kids,
think.
those older kids of mine, they get up and go to work every day. They pay their bills.
Mhm.
They're responsible. They take care of their homes. I mean, they're productive members of society.
Mhm.
They're not, uber rich or anything like that, but they're productive, and they have values, and they care about people. And and I worry about that with these 2. Well, the oldest one not so much, but my son.
But boys, they mature slower.
Yeah, but I think
Yeah.
he's going to have to start really getting some consequences for some lazy behaviors.
Okay. Well,
Start now.
And because, like tonight, for instance, I have a teacher conference with all 5 of his teachers on Thursday, because this little boy who has 130 IQ can't seem to pass. And it's because little boy thinks that he's so smart that it should come easy to him
Yeah.
because it did before. Well, now he's in the 7th grade and he has to actually study and take notes and learn, do his homework and study for
Yeah.
tests. He doesn't. And he's learning right now that the consequences for not doing that is a really bad grade.
Mhm.
He's about to find out that the consequences for doing that is mom's foot in his behind.
But I have talked about these things with DJ a lot
Mm-hmm.
because of his situation,
Mm-hmm.
troubles he have. And one thing they do in Sweden that I really, really like is that most student with special needs, and I'm talking special needs, the level DJ is at,
Yeah,
not
Mhm.
just reading or
not specific learning disabilities,
Mhm.
but
I'm
global.
about special needs, not
Yeah.
learning disabilities, special needs.
DJ's in the chat.
Right.
They are usually integrated in the regular classroom.
Yeah.
Very few situation where they have their own groups or their
Mhm.
own. And when I think about it, I can think about groups for the blind where they
Mhm.
go to learn reading Braille, for example.
Yeah, like the school in Florida
Mhm.
down there in St. Augustine.
Something that's very specific, but for most of the time they are just integrated in the regular school system, and that creates a deep understanding among the other kids because you see the struggle in everyday situation. They see
Mhm.
their friend that they are in the same classroom with has
Mhm.
problems with this or with that, and it's easier for the kids to understand from a young age if they
Mhm.
are integrated with the problem.
Well, I'm going to
Here,
tell you what I
kids are
think, Pia.
so protected from all of that. So, I mean, no wonder they don't get the understanding because
Yeah,
they never experience it.
right.
Mhm.
But I'll tell you this. I have 2 children who are in the gifted classes, and they both have the same potential. And I honestly believe that having a high IQ is a disability to some degree. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's a social disability. They don't relate to all their classmates. They have no interest in socializing with them because they tell me that they don't have the same things in common. They are underachievers because I don't know why. I don't know.
Because they don't get challenged at school.
Well, and
That's
that's part of
why.
it, especially here in
Okay.
Mississippi, you know.
That's a problem with having I don't like to have gifted classes. I don't like to have special groups for disabilities.
For disability, I
don't
see what
like
you're
to
saying.
have-
Just
I
put them
don't
all together.
they are kids,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And another thing that was really good in Sweden that we don't have here is that the group of kids followed each other. And the teacher followed the kids. I was teaching my first year, I was in regular classes. So I had my class for grade 4, 5, and 6. I
Mhm.
followed the kids for 3 years. Here, they usually do so. Okay, you teach fourth grade. And then you leave the kids to fifth grade. And then the kids shift over to a new teacher in sixth grade. So as a teacher, you just need to know fourth grade teaching. They switch teacher for each year.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You follow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I follow the kids. So in fourth grade,
Oh,
I
so
learned
you got to teach them from fourth grade up
four
to
to
whatever
six.
grade
Six.
the
Mhm.
school
For
ended.
3
Like,
years. Yeah,
okay.
for 3 years before they went off to middle school.
Right,
So in
right,
fourth grade, I got to know all the kids and
right.
really get to know them. I know their strength, I know their weaknesses.
And you
And
know
then
how to reach them.
I could start individualizing so much more because I know
Right.
each kid needed. And these were mixed. There were disabilities, there were overachievers, underachievers, there were kids
Hmm.
with problems at home, kids with no problems. You also learn to get to know the parents
Yes,
because it's the same parents for 3 years.
right.
Mhm.
That's
So
what,
I needed to talk to a parent.
uh-huh.
Okay, first time in grade 4, it could have been a little shaky.
Sure.
Grade 5, I just called them and said, "Hi, it's me. This is what we need to do." And we
Right.
were the same.
And
So,
see, I don't know any of these teachers that I'm going to talk to on Thursday. I mean, I know their names,
yeah.
but I've never met them because COVID, they wouldn't let us in the school to meet the
Oh.
teachers. And
Mhm.
I have no idea who I'm going to be talking to. Um, I don't know what's expected of him because everything's done on a stinking computer now instead of him. He had a study guide today for a history test on the Revolutionary War. He showed me the study guide on Google Classroom. And I realized this was a grade. He had to answer the questions for a grade. And it was a 2-day-old assignment, and he had not clicked the turn in button yet.
Oh no.
So I turned it in for him. I said, "Why didn't you click this button?" And see, he has a lot of missing assignments, and that's why he's doing so badly. And I'm asking him, "Where are these assignments?" "Mom, I did that." I'm like, apparently not. There's a great big fat zero on here.
'Cause maybe he's
I
not
said,
turning them in.
that's part of it. That's part of it. The other
Oh.
part of it is he don't want to. But I'm going to give him a little bit of grace because I'm not happy. There is no reason why any child in today's society can go to school every single day, pay attention in class, do their classwork, and not at least make a C. There's
No.
no reason for it.
True.
If you're there every day and you're paying attention, you should at least be able to make a C.
Another thing, our students in Sweden didn't get grades until 7th grade.
Oh, wow.
So they could be more free in their ways of learning.
Wow.
Graded.
Oh.
And we weren't as strict as here. Here, as a teacher, you have to hand in your lesson plan, and this lesson I'm doing this lesson I'm doing that.
Right.
None of that as a teacher in Sweden. I went from teaching the same class for 3 years to teaching H mixed. So my class was 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders.
Oh.
And every year, 1/3 moved on because at school I worked at that time, they had 6th grade to 9th grade were middle school. So I had 3, 4, and 5 in my classroom. 1/3 moved on to middle school, and I got a new third.
A new third
Third
graders.
graders. So the class it was not all new kids. And you got to know them. So I had a family at that school that they had 5 kids. I missed the oldest because he was in middle school when I started. But from my first day at that school until I moved down to the south of Sweden to work at this special school, I had 4 of their 5 kids in my class, always.
Oh, wow.
1 or 2. And they were with me on everything, every excursion, every class trip, these, either the father or the mother, and they filmed. This was when you used
The camcorder.
Order.
yes, with the camcorder. So my last day at school, they came and they gave me a VHS tape. I
Oh,
Oh,
over here because it's in the PAL. Wait, here is PAL. No, PAL is in Europe and here is NSFL or whatever it is. So I have to find one that can fix this for me. But
right.
mhm.
tape from every event from my first day at school. At this school, first day at school every fall was a party out on the schoolyard with live music, with all the neighbors came down with food, with balloons. It was, they made it
Wow.
a big party the first day of school, always.
Oh my
So this
goodness.
VHS tape I got started with my first day working at this school and their second to oldest son in my classroom out on the schoolyard. And it ended with the trip we took the day before the last day of school. So they had been up and edited the last part of this VHS during the night before the last day.
That
And
is so
all
amazing.
the events in between. All
Yeah, I'd have cried.
it was like,
Cried.
it was incredible to get a gift like that.
Oh,
But
of
I have
course.
had these parents for like 9 years. They had been parents to my students, one or another of my students. So we knew each other. We knew each other so well after 9 years. So that's another thing that was so much easier with this system.
I never got to know many of my teachers because my mom was a single parent and we used to move around a lot because, like, you know, if the rent got raised, we were
Right.
moving somewhere else. So I was always in and out of different schools.
And that was my
And
3 oldest kids too. Yeah.
and I the worst learning behavior that I have is I never learned how to tell time on an actual clock.
Well, that's not such a big deal. You got clocks that talk to you now.
Yeah, now
No big
it's- oh,
deal.
yeah. But if I only had one of those regular old clocks, I would have a hard time reading it. I still
Well, I
do.
have one in my
Here.
living room that's about 3 feet
DJ
tall
is
around.
right.
Because I can't.
Classes here usually have the teacher follow them for many years. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
right. But we have
I'll tell you how bad this is for my son right now. And this is just in the last 4 weeks or so. He has, you are not going to believe this. He has a 25 in art. A
25?
And he likes art. I don't understand it. I'm like, how the heck? No, I didn't say that. I said, how the hell do you make a 25 in a class that you like? I don't understand that. But it's,
No,
I don't know. I don't know.
You better prepare yourself for these conferences with some good questions for the teachers.
I have some.
Asking them how this happened.
And honestly, I don't care about art. I don't care if he fails art. I don't give, but he better not fail math and English and history and science.
Right.
He better not.
At the same time, even though I am a teacher, I shouldn't say this, but I'm not working as a teacher right now.
Okay.
And if I ever apply for a teacher's job in the future, internet, and you happen to find this, don't hold it against me.
Pia did not say this.
A failed grade doesn't mean that you don't have the knowledge.
Right. And I know you're right about that.
True, yeah.
It has nothing to do, because what is graded here is, did you hand in all your assignment?
Hmm.
Did you
Mm-hmm.
study so you gave the answers I expected on the test? Not any free thinkers here. Don't have any.
Don't have your own opinions and
No, don't have. And if you didn't do all that, did you finish the extra work that would have put you up over the grade? Because all teachers do this
give extra credit. Yeah.
in the
Yes.
US.
Mhm.
Extra credit, because for some reason in this country, now I'm sounding so critical.
No,
but
go ahead.
for some reason in this country, everybody thinks that a failed student falls negatively on the teachers. So as a teacher, or at the school, you give the students the extra credit, so everybody should reach a
Be
certain
able to
level.
pass. Mhm.
So the school and the teachers look good when it comes to getting money.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's where it all ends up. It has nothing to do whether the kids learn
Are
something
learning.
or whether the kids learn something that they need to know.
Right.
Right.
I went over all of those questions with him tonight. There were 25 of them, and he only missed one. As I was, and I mixed them all up, so I didn't, so he couldn't memorize them, because he does that. He'll memorize in an order,
Yeah.
and then when they're thrown out of order, it throws him off. And so I mixed them all up, and he knew the answers. And I told him, I said, "You feel good about this test?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Well, you should." I said, you should probably make a 90 or 100 on this test. And I was giving him some little tips like word association.
Mm.
But the thing is, what does this type of test really measures?
Well, nothing.
Does
But
it
let me
measure anything that can be good for him to be able to do in the future? No.
probably not. But let me tell you what it does for me.
It does for me.
I've been a parent for 35 years. I have dealt with kids in school for 30 years. I don't want to do it for 1 year longer than what I have to. He's going to graduate when he's supposed to graduate, because at that point, I'm going to retire and I'm not going to be legally responsible for his nonsense.
I can see that, but what I really mean is, why do we make the kids do this at school?
I don't know.
Especially,
I just know that that's what's required for him to get from point A to point B.
But there is something fundamentally wrong when a kid like yours, that is smart and clever,
Yes.
finds school so boring that he doesn't even try.
Well, and I'll tell you this. If you were to talk to him one-on-one, the boy's vocabulary is fan-freaking-tastic. He has a vocabulary. And what he does when he's trying to be cute and snarky is he'll talk over the heads of the people that are aggravating him, the kids at school, and then he'll poo-poo them because they don't know what that means. And I'm like, you need to quit being such a smarty pants.
Why? The school should take advantage of that. I mean, I know why he should stop, because it's
because he's being mean. That's
right.
But,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's such. Well, no, forget it. I'm so critical to the U.S. school system,
and I understand why. I really do. Because I have. If it wasn't for my future retirement plan,
yeah,
I really wouldn't care if he graduated or not. I'd homeschool him and get him a GED and we'd be done with this.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But he has this grand illusion that he's going to be an engineer when he can't pass math.
Oh,
And the sad part is that it doesn't mean that he doesn't know math.
Exactly.
It has
Exactly.
nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Any kid who can pound a drum and beat 16th notes all day long, he knows math. You know?
So it's so sad that, well, it's just so sad. Let's leave it with that. I need
All right,
to
my
leave
dear.
bed, guys.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get off on a tangent.
No, and I get so, I have to bite my tongue because
And yeah.
it is true. I mean, the teacher should correct as well as the parents. You know, it goes both ways.
It
You
does.
can't allow the child to like get out of hand in class when a teacher is trying to teach.
Well, and that's the thing. He's not a behavior problem at all.
if we're talking behavior problem, if school was interesting, challenging, fun for the students, there wouldn't be
There
any
wouldn't be any
behavior
behavior problems.
I have
Mhm.
never had behavior problem in my classroom, not even at the school I talked about. One time I had one of the boys at that school, because they had a lot of respect for me when I started there. A short while after, they were scared of me because at one point, one of the boys called me an effing whore.
What?
Yep.
Remember, he
And
told me.
I don't know where I got this voice from. I yelled. This was in an old building. The windows shook in the building. The other boys, I had 4 boys in my classroom at this point. The other 3 just swoop, disappeared. They were out of the room with flying colors. And he just sat there and got smaller and smaller and smaller as
Mhm.
I was screaming my lungs out.
He should have got smaller.
Oh, after that, when we got new students to the school, which happened very rarely because we had a maximum of 6. But when we got new kids coming in, the first thing that happened was that they were instructed by the other students, whatever you do, don't get Pia mad. Whatever you do, because they knew that they
Because
would
it's going to get ugly real quick.
Oh, they
Mhm.
all have. So after that, I had absolutely no problems with these kids. And these were the kids that kicked my colleague in the stomach when she was pregnant.
Oh,
But nope. And I can't say that I have ever had disciplinary problems with my students. Never ever. Because I made sure they were challenged and they were interested in what we were doing, and they knew why they were learning certain things. That's the biggest problem with the schools I have seen here.
hmm
The kids are just told, this is what we're learning and this is how we do it, not
Mhm.
anything about why. Why should
Well,
you
and
learn?
like you said, they're not teaching them to be critical thinkers
No,
or problem
no.
solvers
No.
or anything like that. And I think that's even more important than learning this stuff that really is. I'm not going to say it's completely insignificant, but it's not the life skill that you need to
Yeah.
be a lifelong learner.
Today, of all times, you don't need to learn to repeat things.
Right.
You need to learn is to how to find the information you need.
Yes. Yes. And
You
I'll tell you
don't
what, he can do that.
fill your head with
Let's see.
facts unless you are thinking of having a career as a master in trivia. If that is your future projection, I will be a millionaire by competing in Jeopardy on TV.
Woohoo!
If that's how you want to make a living,
Right.
you
Right.
need to stuff your head full
Full of
of
information. Useless information. Yeah, I agree with you. I think critical thinking skills and problem solving is probably so much more advantageous to these kids. And like you said, when he doesn't know the answer to a problem, like when he's doing his schoolwork, I'll tell him, well, you got Google at your fingertips. Just Google it. There's an answer. The answer's right there. Find it. You know?
learn how
Right.
to. I mean, we need to teach our kids from a young age today to use the internet and to look at it critically. What is the source? Is this true information? Is this false? Where does it come from?
Is it
How do I
biased?
find out? How do
Uh-huh.
I find out?
Right.
That's skills that today's kids need.
Right. Right.
But are we teaching that? No, we're not.
Oh my. Yeah, it's a sad thing. But,
Mhm.
you know, unfortunately, to get them to where they need to be in the end, they have to do it that way.
Yes.
You know, it's like
Mhm.
my dad used to say,
Yeah. The kids that are in school today have to follow the system.
yeah.
That's
I mean,
just how
there's
it
just no other way
But
around it.
for the
Well, there
future
is other ways around it,
need
but
to change the system. I am convinced we need to change the system of learning.
I'll tell you this, if he wasn't so
Mhm.
interested in being in the band and gets so much joy out of that, he loves the band. That's the only A that boy's got is in band.
Yeah.
But it's because he goes every day, he shows up, he does what he's supposed to do, and bam, you know. But if it wasn't for that, I would take him out of school and homeschool him.
Yeah.
100%.
Mhm.
Because I think he does a lot better here. I try to explain things to him because I know him, I know how his little brain works, so I can
Mhm.
weave a web.
I mean,
Teachers don't know him.
That was the big advantage with having the same students for
Yes,
3
I can imagine. I can
You
imagine.
got to know the kids. You know exactly what triggers to use, how to
Mhm.
motivate them, how to help them
Uh-huh.
through a problem. If they get stuck, you knew that, okay, he or she is stuck because of this. I could tell right away why a kid got stuck at a certain point in their learning because I knew them. And the way schools work here, you don't have time to get to know them and how they learn because
Right.
you have,
Mhm.
as a teacher, you have to follow the plans, you have to get all this done because otherwise the political overlords
Mhm.
will
Yep.
take back the funds from the school.
Right. Well,
Exactly.
and not only that, but oh shoot, I just lost my train of thought. Gee, where'd it go?
Welcome.
Squirrel
Welcome.
brain.
Whoa! Yikes. I have no idea where that thought went. It was,
Well, maybe that is a sign that it's
it probably is. Ooh, wait.
time this live stream.
Ooh, my crypto just
I-
went up 5%.
I did think that I should edit that little video I shared with you tonight, but I'm gonna
Wait.
wait until tomorrow morning. It's
Okay.
almost done. I
I
just need
understand.
to add
I
some
understand.
small things and arrows and point to this. And
Right.
I,
Right.
I'm glad I did it before tonight's live stream, even though it was a little wonky wanky with. Next time, maybe I should upload it. That's what I should have done. Instead of trying to play it from my computer locally, I should have uploaded it to YouTube.
Mm.
It
Oh
processed
yeah.
there and then played it and just shared the screen.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Mhm.
Now I know that for the next time.
Well, there you go. Live and learn.
Yes,
Yep.
lesson learned.
Always learning. That's
Well,
the way I like. That's the way I learn the best. Trial and error.
me too. Me too.
Hmm.
That
I-
always worked for me. And for many people it does, because you remember
Yeah.
more of what you did mistakes than when you did things right.
Yep.
Just that
Right.
kids in school today don't have, there is no room for trial and error.
No, there's not.
No, there's no
They-
time.
There is
Well,
no time, there is
No
no room
time.
to make mistakes
right.
and correct them.
Oh, my thought was not only is the funding threatened to be pulled, but these poor teachers have 35, 36 kids to a classroom. How do you
Yeah.
get to know your students when there's an army of them every hour coming through the door and going out?
That's true.
You can. The largest group I had in Sweden was 42 kids,
Is that right?
but I had them for 3 years. So
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So that's a little different.
Yeah. My son's history teacher has him for 1 hour a day.
yep.
He goes in, he goes out. And then he moves on to the next teacher that doesn't know him. So, of course, they're about to get to know him. Come Thursday, they're going to know a lot.
Well, they're going to get to know you at least.
Yeah, they'll know me.
Yes.
They will.
Mhm.
And I've got a ton of questions. And they're going to have to do some training on this old lady, too. Because I'm going to learn how
Really?
to
No
follow
book.
every move he makes
But
with
you
a
know what?
bullwhip.
A lot of, I don't know now because it's so long since the pandemic started, but
Mhm.
a lot, that's, I remember when all this started. And I mean, it wasn't that long since I got my teacher's degree here in the US, because they didn't accept anything on my Swedish degree. So I had to go
Right.
back to college
And do
and
it all over again.
So it wasn't that long ago I got my degree here. She's falling over there. It wasn't that long. We lost your sound too, Gina. We can't hear you. It wasn't that long ago since I got my teacher's degree.
Right.
I know what's included. And there is nothing about teaching, distance teaching.
Mm. Mm.
I got my degree online.
Right.
Okay, Gina, we see you.
Right.
So I knew that when this started, a lot of these teachers that got forced into start using Google Classroom, because that's, I think that is Google Classroom and Zoom
Yeah.
are the things that teachers got forced into.
Yes.
A lot of the teachers weren't at all prepared
They
or
weren't
got
prepared.
the support they needed
Right.
to teach this way.
And they had to make their own curriculums on the
Yeah.
Google. Yeah, it was crazy. They were just winging it last year.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So
um,
it's not fair to be critical maybe towards individual teachers, but
oh no,
that's not what I am, because I know when
it's the system.
I have to do the same thing. I have to hand in my plans and I have to do this and I have to do that. Things
Right.
that I never had to do as a teacher in Sweden.
Right. Right.
I could teach, I had individual plans for all my kids, and they had times during the week that they did what they wanted and needed.
Well, I'll
Because
tell you, since this new Common Core thing took over a few years ago,
Yep.
teachers don't even turn in their plans anymore. The school gives the teacher the plan
Yeah.
to teach from.
and they expect, the high and mighty politicians expect that they can come to a school, get the plan for that
Mhm.
day, that month, and go into a classroom and expect to see exactly what it said on the plan.
Yep, exactly. And if they deviate, they get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's not the teacher's fault. It's the system that is so messed up.
it is messed up. But
I
that's
have
what happens.
kids. If
You
I
know?
had a kid, I mean, we had curriculums too that we had and goals we had to reach. By
Sure.
grade 6, you have to know this and this and this and this,
Mhm.
each
Mhm.
subject. But if one kid needed spend more time working in math, while another needed spend more time on reading, that was totally okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because we
Oh,
are,
and now it's hour blocks, you know?
Yeah. but we are different.
Yeah.
I am good with numbers. I am good at math. I need more time for I'm good at talking, but for writing, I need more time. I write and rewrite and rewrite. It doesn't come as naturally for me when it comes to writing assignments.
Mhm. Mhm.
Math,
See,
and
I'm just the opposite. I need
Yeah.
the math
and
help.
and if you and I went to school together, we both got this much math and this
Mhm.
much writing.
Right.
Same amount of time. Not
Right.
that all adjusted to what our
What
person
we needed. Right.
And
Yeah.
that's such a shame.
It is. It's a tragedy.
It is.
But I'll tell you now, the teacher that my son had last year during the whole pandemic thing, she
Yeah.
was amazing. Amazing.
There are a lot of amazing teachers. The problem is that the decision makers don't believe in or back up the teachers.
The teacher. Right. But she was in contact with me
Instead of-
constantly.
No, but if the school board and the school know-hows would
Mhm.
stop telling teachers how and what they should do every year,
Mhm.
every period, every month, and
Mhm.
had some confidence in their teachers.
Right.
said,
Right.
Okay, this is
Like-
the goal you have to have your students reach. How you do it,
Is up to you.
up to you. You are the teachers, you know how to teach.
Right.
That doesn't exist here.
No, no, you're right. It does not. It does not. And it's unfortunate.
And because
Well,
there
I
are
think too,
fantastic teachers
yeah.
that are
And teachers wouldn't be so frustrated all the time.
no.
Could use their talent. Because I don't know one teacher that goes to school, that goes to college to learn to teach, who doesn't want to change the world and be a good influence in these children's lives. They go with the best of intentions, and then 5 years down the road, they're so jaded, they don't want to even do it anymore.
They can't do what they know
Exactly.
how to do.
Right, right.
That's
I get it.
the sad reality.
Right.
So it's not on the teachers at
No.
all. Not on the teachers. It's on the high and mighty
Yeah.
politicians.
Well, Pia, on
Fortunately.
that note, I think I'm headed out of here.
Yeah, I'm heading to bed here. It was really, I think we had a good discussion about both security and about the school system.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. We did. And I learned a lot, as always.
Good, I'm glad. See, I know how to teach.
You certainly do, especially to this old lady.
Well, it wasn't that much to learn from this. It was more common sense today.
Yeah, it was. Well, I
So
feel like I made an A because it was easy.
I'm not grading my students. I'm not
Okay.
grading my
Whew,
students.
whew.
Good night, girls. Good night, Gina Bina. Night,
Good night.
Marcel. Night, Ghana, if you're still here. I don't know who else is still around. DJ, if you haven't fallen asleep, I guess you are around. And let's play some music too.
Let's do that. And welcome home.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
It will take a while to get used to being home, but
Yeah.
okay, I hope the music won't be too loud right now. But
It'll.
let's listen. Good night, everybody.
Good night, my dear.
Grandma's a toy for Christmas. Was one of the greatest innovators. The note and the right. This is a whole yard full of fun. Man,